Hello dears, welcome back to yet another English class. We were studying the lesson Jody's Fawn, and in the previous class we have studied that Jody's father was bitten by a poisonous snake, a rattlesnake, isn't it? And in order to do an immediate remedy, he had killed a dog and used its heart and liver as a first hand treatment. But later, after his father was saved and reached home, he becomes sad, thinking about the young one of that dog. And he understood that there is no one to take care of that fawn. So, with his father's permission, along with his uncle Millville, he had started from his home to the forest in order to find the fawn and bring it back. And let us see whether he wins in his mission to find the fawn. Let's come back to the remaining chapter from page number 91. Welcome back. Then a buzzard rose in front of him and flapped into the air. Here, buzzard means a large bird of prey like the vulture and hawk. That bird, that buzzard, flew in front of Jody. He came into the clearing under the oaks. He reached a place beneath the oak trees. Buzzard sat in a circle around the carcass of the doe, and there he was able to find the carcass. Here, carcass means the dead body of the doe who was killed by Jody. They turned their heads on their long, scrawny necks and hissed at him. These birds, or these buzzards, they moved their scrawny neck. Here, scrawny means thin and bony neck in front of Jody. He threw his bow at him and they flew into a adjacent tree. Here he threw a bow. Here bow means the branch of a tree. He threw a log piece or a branch of a tree towards the birds and they flew away. He parted the grass at the place where he had seen the fawn. It did not seem possible that it was only yesterday. The fawn was not there. He circled the clearing. There was no sound again. The buzzards clacked their wings, impatient to return to their business. Here Jody is looking at the place where he had seen the fawn the day before, but he was not able to find the fawn. The sand showed large cat prints, but the big cats killed fresh, and they had left the door to the carrion birds. There were footprints of big cats, but they have left the dead body of the doe to the carrion birds. Here, carrion birds means the birds who eat the flesh of dead animals. The buzzards also clacked their wings. Here, clacked means just to make a sound with their wings in order to come back to their business. That means to eat the flesh of the dead doe. He returned to the spot where the fawn had emerged and dropped on all fours, studying the sand for the small hoof prints. The night's rain had washed away all tracks except those of cats and buzzards. Here, Jody is trying to find the footprints of the fawn. The rain from the last night had washed away all tracks except that of the cats and the buzzards. Coming to the third part, movement directly in front of him startled him so that he tumbled back. Here, tumbled means to fall back. He was suddenly shocked. Jody was shocked and he had fallen back. The fawn lifted its face to his. It turned his head with a wide, wondering motion and shook him through with the stare of its liquid eyes. Here, a very wonderful thing happened. He had met the fawn. What did the fawn do? It turned and lifted its face towards Jody. And at the same time, the fawn looked Jody with its liquid eyes. That means its eyes were seen in a way that it was covered with tears. It was quivering. Here, quivering means to tremble or to shake. The fawn was quivering or trembling. It made no effort to rise or run. Jody could not trust himself to move. He whispered, "It's me." In a very comforting, peaceful manner, Jody is telling to the fawn that it's me, don't be afraid. The fawn lifted its nose, scenting him. The fawn tried to scent or to smell him. He reached out one hand and laid it on the soft neck. He touched on its neck. The touch made him delirious. Here, delirious means extremely excited. Here, the fawn became excited. He moved forward on all fours until he was close beside it. He put his arms around its body. The light convulsion passed over it, but it did not stir. Here, convulsion means shiver. Without making any noise, keeping his hands on the floor. In his force or using his arms also, he moved on the floor towards the fawn and touched him. That touch made the fawn convulse or to shiver. He stroked its sides as gently as though the fawn were a china deer and he might break it. That means, in a very delicate manner, Jody took care of the fawn. Like a china deer. China deer means a clay deer, a toy, we can tell, that can be easily broken. Its skin was very soft. It was sleek and clean. Sleek means very smooth and shiny, and had a sweet scent of grass. The fawn had the smell that of grass. He rose slowly and lifted the fawn from the ground. He took the fawn on his arms. Its legs hung limply. Limply means without stiffness. In a very soft manner, its legs were hanging. They were surprisingly long, and he had to hoist the fawn as high as possible under his arm. Its legs were longer, so he needed to hoist it or to raise the fawn in a higher position. His arms began to ache and he was forced to stop again. When he walked on, the fawn followed him at once. After walking a little distance, his arms started to feel pain. So he stopped there. That time, the fawn followed him. The fawn was following him to the way home. He allowed it to walk a little distance, then picked it up again. Like a loving mother and child, this Jody took the fawn for a little distance, then again make it to walk. Then again he took the fawn. The distance home was nothing. He could have walked all day and night carrying it and watching it follow. He was wet with sweat, but a little breeze blew through the June morning, cooling him. That means he was tired and he was sweating by walking home. The sky was as clear as spring water in a blue china cup. The weather was very calm and clear. He came to the clearing. He came out of the open space area in the forest. It was fresh and green after the night's rain. The nature seemed to be very beautiful. He fumbled with the latch and was finally obliged to set down the phone to manage it. This means it was a bit difficult for him to open the lock or latch of the house, but he could do it once he set the phone down. Then he had an idea. He would walk into the house, into Penny's bedroom, with the fawn walking behind him. But at the steps, the fawn balked. Here, balked means unwilling to move and refused to climb. He picked it up and went to his father. Penny lay close with his eyes closed. Jody called, "Pa, look." Penny turned his head. Jody stood beside him. The fawn clutched hard against him. It seemed to Penny that the boy's eyes were as bright as the fawn's. He said, "I am glad you found him." Here, when Jody showed the fawn to his father, Penny, he became so happy and he became proud about his son. Jody then went to the kitchen. The fawn wobbled after him. Here, wobble means unsteady movement. A pan of morning's milk stood in the kitchen safe. The cream had risen on it. He skimmed the cream into a jug. He poured milk into a small gourd. Here, nothing else. Gourd means a saucer-like thing. He went to the kitchen and there the steamed milk was there. He removed the cream from the milk and poured the milk on a saucer. It suddenly smelling the milk, he saved it precariously from spilling over the floor. He could make nothing of milk in the gourd. Here, the fawn liked to drink milk, but he can't drink it from a pot. So what Jody did, he dipped the fingers in the milk and thrust them into the fawn's soft, wet mouth. It sucked greedily. In a very caring manner, Jody wet his own fingers with milk and put drops of milk on the mouth of the fawn. When he withdrew him, it bleated frantically. Here, bleated means made a sound in a very happy manner. He dipped his fingers again, and as the fawn sucked, he lowered them slowly into the milk. The fawn blew, sucked, and snorted. It stamped his hooves impatiently. There was an ecstasy of feeling in its tongue. Here, one word is there, butted, B-U-T-T-E-D. Butted means to hit only. Then ecstasy means extreme happiness, and gurgling means making a particular sound of bubbling sound when water flows and all that. That means with that sound, the fawn was drinking milk. Here, in the last part, it is telling that Jody felt extreme happiness on feeling its tongue against his hand. The milk disappeared quickly from his fingers. That means the fawn started to have milk from the fingers of Jody, and later Jody took care of the fawn very well. I hope children you all understood the story. In the next class we can meet again with one another lesson. Thank you.